Hey guys, I am Pixel Dan, and today we are going to be checking out Wave 7 of the Masters of the WWE Universe line. And this is a pretty incredible wave, giving us Junkyard Dog, JYD, heroic grabber of cakes. I just can't even. I can't believe it. I love it. Grab them cakes. We got Andre the Giant, the 8th wonder of WWE Eternia. I got to show you this too. The figure is so big. Look, his legs aren't even all the way attached. Like, we're going to have to attach the bottom part of his legs when we open them. So that means we got like a whole new body for Andre. I can't wait to see him with the others. We've got Bret the Hitman Hart, excellence of execution, and probably one of the more popular ones, which is also mind-blowing, Sgt Slaughter, the heroic Sergeant at Arms. Got the Total Man at Arms thing going on, but oh my gosh, this is like just the craziest crossover, right? Considering not only is Sarge a WWE superstar, but of course he's well known for being in G.I. Joe, and now he's in He-Man. That's insane. So the back of all of these packages continue on with some awesome artwork along with the cross-sells there. Very much in line with the vintage Masters of the Universe toy line and also what we're seeing with Origins. So we've got JYD up here. Like, you can totally see he's fighting one of Jake the Snake's snakes up there. He's fighting Damien, perhaps. We've got Andre, of course, going toe-to-toe with the Hulkster. We've got Bret the Hitman Hart with the Snake Mountain ring in the background. And we've got Sgt Slaughter running into battle with Rey Mysterio Stratos up there. All of this artwork also pays homage to classic pieces of artwork from Masters of the Universe. So it's incredible. I love the packages on these things, but we're gonna go ahead and rip these guys open like we always do and get a closer look at the figures within. Alright, let's go ahead and just start with the heroic grabber of cakes himself. It's JYD, the Junkyard Dog. So if you guys are not already familiar by this point, these do reuse the same standard bodies that we see in the Masters of the Universe Origins toy line. This means that the figures are about the 5.5-inch scale. You can see almost even pushing closer to 6 inches tall, and all of that articulation is exactly what you would expect from that line, with the ball joint at the head. The arms can go outwards, forwards, backwards, swivel at the elbow. You got a bend at the elbow, though. Wow, very, very stiff on JYD here. Swivel at the wrist, hinge at the wrist. You can move the torso left and right at the waist there. The legs can go outwards, forwards, backwards, swivel at the knee, bend at the knee, and swivel at the boot cut, with the ankles moving forwards, backwards, as well as rocking side to side. And they retain all of the interchangeability of the Origins toy line. That means each of these figures can be swapped between each other. You can pop the heads off at the ball joint. You can pull the arms out at the shoulders. You can pull the hands out at the wrist there. You can pop the torso off the legs, like so. And you can pull the boots off of the legs as well. So, mixing and matching abound if you're into that sort of thing, which is pretty cool. And, of course, all of these figures have a nice Masters of the Universe kind of makeover. And with Junkyard Dog here, they gave him the armor from Spikor. So you can see he's got these spikes all over him. It's kind of neat because it's blue. Spikor is usually purple, but this one uses the blue. At first I was wondering like what exactly the theme is supposed to be, but I think it's because of the spiked collar at the top. So I get it, like a dog collar there. I believe that's what we've got going on. This is also the armor from the Masters of the Universe Classics Spikor. We don't have a Spikor in Origins yet, so it's to be seen still how they're going to handle it, if they're going to make it armor, if it's going to be part of his body like the vintage toy. But we did have this in the Classics line done this way as well, so they recycled it for this figure. But what's nice about this, like many of the figures in this line, if you don't want the Masters influence there, this armor is easily removable. You can just kind of undo the pegs on the sides. You can pop it off the body there, and we can put the head back on, and now JYD is just wearing wrestling tights. You can see he's got the red tights, he's got white boots, thump across the butt, which is fantastic. You got the little dog there on the boots. So now we've got him just in a 5.5 style wrestling figure, kind of like the old AWA figures from Remco, which is pretty cool stuff. I really like that most of the figures in this line can do this if you want. Now, JYD does come with one accessory, and I really need to talk about this because right out of the box, like in the packaging, this thing was snapped. Look at that. It's a broken chain. And I've noticed online that other people are having the same problem. So this is really, really unfortunate. This is an entirely new accessory. This is not something I believe has come with a Masters figure before. I don't recognize it, at least. It is made of a very soft, pliable plastic, and it looks like it's supposed to just be like a big dog chain. Like you would put this on his wrist, and then you would use the other part to capture any of your other wrestlers here. So like here, let's bring in Sarge. You can see like, oh, trap him around the waist, and now JYD's got him on a dog chain. It just really sucks that it's broken. Like, look, mine is barely hanging on there just by a thread. It is definitely going to break off. So this is something to watch out for. Mine was just laying broken like this in the package. When I removed the blister card, it was just already broken. It seems to be that way for a lot of people. So it seems to be a very fragile accessory. If yours isn't broken, be very careful with it. Next up, we've got the Hitman, Bret Hart. So this one's pretty neat as well. They went with a Triclops motif there. You'll notice that the armor he's wearing is actually the Masters of the Universe Classics Triclops armor and not the armor from the Origins figure. The Origins one is a bit more simplistic, looks much more like the vintage armor. The one from Classics has a lot of these extra details like the frills on here. It also has the little daggers sculpted on the back. These are non-removable, but you can see they are part of the sculpt there. Then he's also got the Bret Hart logo up here on the front, which is really cool. So this is kind of neat because it's very reminiscent of, like, you know, the jacket, the black jacket that he would wear to the ring. It's definitely why they went with this. But it is worth noting that they've already used that same Triclops armor in this line for The Undertaker. You can see it's even black for him too, but there are some deco differences. But it is the same Classics Triclops armor that was used for Undertaker as well. Now, with the Triclops motif, they didn't just stop at the armor, they actually gave him the visor as well. So you can see they actually created a new piece. Instead of making it so that he has a non-removable spinning visor on his head, they made it more like removable sunglasses. But you can see it's a ring with little divots for his nose. And this is kind of cool because you can slide it over his head, and there's 3 different types of glasses for him. So you've got like the pink ones, you've got silver ones, but then you've also got the skull on there. So pretty fun stuff, and it's a neat way to do the Triclops gimmick without making the visor stuck on his head. That way we can remove it and we have just a regular Bret Hart face underneath. He does come with a Triclops sword, which this one does appear to be the Origins Triclops sword, but it's done in pink, which is actually really cool. I like it, like a metallic pink, which is very, very neat. And then he's got the holder on the back as well, and this does work in the sword holder, so you can actually put that on his back if you want to. And this is another one where it's very easy. You could just remove the armor just by undoing the peg there. We'll probably want to pull the head off that joint. We can pull the head back on. Now, he is not wearing a tank top like he typically wears the singlet, but you can still do shirtless wrestler Bret Hart for your collection. It's just a shame we didn't get a Shawn Michaels in this line. We can't have a WWE tourney a screw job. What would we call that? The Snake Mountain screw job, Castle Grayskull screw job, the Fright Zone screw job. There's no Shawn, but there we go. We got Bret. Okay, we are now at Andre the Giant. This is a really exciting one. I got to bring the tape measure in to show you guys how much bigger this figure is. He stands close to 7 inches tall. So if we bring in one of the standard figures, you can see that he is much bigger. He's taller, he's beefier. This is really cool that they did this so that we've got an actual giant here. You know, he scales perfectly with the other figures. But this is also interesting because we don't have this particular body in the Origins line. So this is a new tooling, and it's going to be really interesting to see what this might be used for in Origins as well. Now, Andre the Giant is modeled after the giant Titus, which is one of the figures from the vintage Masters of the Universe toy line. I gotta do this. Here's a comparison time for you. Now, the original Titus Giant is huge, way, way, way bigger than this. But it's still neat that they kind of took, you can see like the armor and the little head thing that he's wearing all comes from that Titus figure. Now, I hope when they bring this over to Origins, this isn't how they plan to do Titus. Titus needs to be huge like the vintage one. But it's still interesting to think about what they might do with this in Origins. I can't imagine that they tooled this up just for this one figure in this WWE line. But I don't know. Maybe they did. Who knows? Time will tell. So you can remove the little tiara thing if you want to. It just sits over his head. That's actually a really great Andre likeness. I think that is really, really cool. Still seems to have all the same interchangeability even. In fact, here, I want to try this. Let's see. Can we... Oh, look, the peg is the same. Look, now we can have Giant Arm Man. This is amazing. So that's fun right there. Oh, look at these. Now they're the 35-inch pythons, brother. That's hilarious that we can actually do that. Looks like you can still take it apart at the torso. Does that fit too? That's even the same joint. So you could have some hilarious interchanging here if you want to. Oh, now I'm the giant I always wanted to be, brother. Yeah. So really, really fun stuff there. So with Andre, it's the same thing. Look, you can remove all of the Masters of the Universe parts from this guy if that's something that you want to do. So you can, like, the easiest thing to do is to remove the torso so you can take off the little loincloth piece, and then you can just pull the armor off there, and let's get his arms back on. And look at this. We got ourselves a nice Andre the Giant. They just painted on his singlet. It's the one shoulder strap kind. Unfortunately, I got some paint scuffing on mine there, but that's still pretty cool that that's an option. Oh, you can even take the little wrist bracers off. So, you know, you don't want them having the little wrist bracers as well. All you got to do is just, dang, man. Anyway, pop the hands out of socket. You could pull those wrist bracers right off, and now we've got ourselves just a standard Andre the Giant in the style of sort of like these classic 5.5-inch figures, and he's much taller than the others. I like this quite a bit. I think it's so cool that they did this. All right, Andre is great. But this figure right here is probably the winner of the wave for me, and I think a lot of other people. It's Sgt Slaughter as Man-at-Arms, and this is kind of a mind-blowing figure. Just because Sgt Slaughter, of course, is so synonymous with G.I. Joe, and now he's in a He-Man toy line. Unreal. Now you can have this guy as a G.I. Joe, you can have him as a He-Man figure, you can have him as a wrestler. This dude breaks all the boundaries. I love it. So he is modeled after Man-at-Arms, and they went full on by just giving him the Origins Man-at-Arms armor, the arm armor, and the leg armor, all molded in a nice dark green plastic. He's even got the Man-at-Arms mace weapon there, molded in that same color plastic. I do like the little star that they added on there. That's really, really cool deco. But once again, all of this is removable from the figure, and underneath that you are just left with a standard Sgt Slaughter. So we can just undo this on the back, we can pull this right over. Look at this. So now we've just got ourselves with a Slaughter who's wearing the singlet over the t-shirt there. What's really cool is like the hat and the sunglasses are also removable, so we've got him all ready to wrestle now. The only thing about him that is still kind of He-Man is that he's got the wrist bracers there, which is kind of a common thing across several of the figures in this line. But I love this, man. I think this is so cool. It's just such a fun figure, and I love this. Now, of course, he does still retain the mixing and matching, so you can always swap parts if you want to swap parts between some of the other figures in the lineup to create different looks for the figure, and that goes for all of these. But man, this is so cool, and I just seriously can't believe we've got Sgt Slaughter as a He-Man figure now as well. Really, really fun stuff. So there you go, my friends. That is a look at Wave 7 of Masters of the WWE Universe. This is a really solid wave through and through. All of these figures are pretty great. Biggest downside for me is the broken weapon with Junkyard Dog, but still, it's a great batch of figures. It's a really great assortment of characters from the history of WWE. The Andre and the Sgt Slaughter are the standouts for me personally, but all of these are absolutely absolutely worth picking up and adding to the collection. This is the next to final wave of this line, but the good news is that it's no longer a Walmart exclusive line. It's a shame that it took all the way until the next to last wave for that to happen, but you can actually order these at online stores. So these were already in stock at places like Big Bad Toy Store, and there are new pre-orders up there right now. So if you haven't already grabbed a set, definitely go grab yourself a pre-order. You don't want to miss out, especially on Andre and Slaughter. They're really, really great. Thank you guys so very much for watching, and until next time.